Hello, friends. I am Chevy. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is great. I did it. I watched a show front to back. I watched all of Fallout. That's pretty remarkable for me. I don't really do that very often. I would say in the last probably 4 or 5 years, that's the only show I've watched all of. Yeah, I think that says something about it. Typically, I can't stay focused long enough, and a lot of times, shows that I've tried to watch that have the popular shows. Let's take like Game of Thrones, Supernatural, any of the I don't know. I don't really can't even think of shows. Those I don't even know why I thought How old is Supernatural? What was the one that was like the? It was kind of like the X Files, but it wasn't the X Files. The Fringe or something like that. People were like, "You have to watch these shows," and then I would go to watch them, and the first season is just bad. Right? They're just not good. And I get it. Like there's a whole build up that needs to happen for actors to become comfortable with their characters and for characters to become comfortable within the story and for the story to become comfortable, and it can take a while. And so because of that, I just often don't. I'd rather just read a book. Like chances are the book has been, you don't like finish a season of television and then re-edit it and then re-edit it. You can't. That's not how it's made, right? Whereas like a book, this book is not this one, but a book that's been written has been written like 3 or 4 times until it hits, right? You have that freshman issue. And I will say that I think the Fallout has a couple of freshman issues, but overall, I thought it was a super enjoyable show. I give it, if I was going to rate it on a 5-star system, I would give it like a 4. It's not a 5-star show yet. It could be, but I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the pacing. I enjoyed the storyline. I enjoyed the world building and the humor. It hit a whole lot of things for me. Okay, so am I an uber, like, super Fallout fan? No. Yes. I love the games. I played 1, 2, 3, New Vegas. I never played 4 because I watched it. I watched my nephew play it, and it was just bad. And I'm like, I'm not playing that game. So I've watched him play it all the way through like 2 or 3 times. Someday I'll probably play it, but whatever. So I love the games, but I'm also not like I don't know all the minutia of all the lore. I'm not fully up on like that part of it. It was if you've never played the games, they're intended to be satirical. They're intended to be kind of tongue in cheek. Like with media like that, I typically don't go into like a deep dive with the lore. I have played Fallout Shelter also, by the way. So I really really enjoy Fallout stuff. Oh, 76. Malia played it. I watched her play many hours of 76. So yes, I love Fallout. I'm not like this like the fan who knows everything about it, but I do love the series. So watching the show was a really enjoyable experience coming from that perspective as well. As a fan seeing this stuff on the screen, as a fan seeing the characters and whatever. I thought it was very well done all around. My freshman problem with the show is I think there's too many storylines. I think that we got like 5 major storylines, and I think that's just too much. By the way, there's probably going to be spoilers. If you haven't watched it yet and you want to like probably go watch a different video. There's like 5. So we have Lucy, and we have the storyline with her trying to rescue her father. We have Maximus and his storyline with, I don't know, being not quite honest and trying to steal his way into the Brotherhood. I don't know what. We have the ghoul, like typical gunslinger bounty hunter trying to track down this thing. We have the whatever her name is, Moldaver or whatever, trying to get the thing. And then we have whatever's happening in the vaults. So there's like 5 storylines going on all at once. And I think it's too much. I think that for an initial season of the show, it was neat to see all these aspects. Cool. We got the vault. We got the the raiders and the terribleness of the wasteland. Cool. We got ghouls, and here's how ghouls work. Neat. We got the NCR, and here's how the NCR works. Great. We got the whatever the government people are. I'll forget. I'll come up with it later. Whatever those people are called. Great. We've got the Brotherhood of Steel. They're doing their thing. Great. We didn't. I get that we needed to set all this stuff up, but I don't know that we needed to do it in the first season. I think if it was me and I was trying to tell this story, which was a compelling, it was an interesting, we have the MacGuffin, and the MacGuffin needs to get from here to here, and it goes there in a zigzag path, and antics happen. That's a very tried and true, super awesome storyline. It really keeps the pacing going because now it's over here and we have to figure out how to get there and how to get it out of that situation, and now it's over here and it's it's ping pong. That's fun. It's engaging. I would say if it was me, I would have cut the Brotherhood stuff completely out of season 1. And that way we could focus a little bit more on the quirkiness, the humor. We could get deeper into the characters because I feel like we didn't really get very heavy. The characters didn't get a chance to glow because there wasn't enough time. There's 8 episodes, just go, go, go. We needed to cut maybe even 2 of the storylines out. I wouldn't say cut the ghoul out completely. I wouldn't say cut the Brotherhood out completely. You could have had, dudes in power armor and doing, showing up and being one of the ping pongs. Great, but we didn't need to have let's see that could have been season 2. Season 2 could have been all about now we've got to figure out how to defend it. The Brotherhood's coming because now we have nuclear or cold fusion or whatever. I don't know, but I feel like we could have just cut them completely out of the show for this first season, and it wouldn't have hurt this thing at all. And we could have had more character time. We could have had more time for Lucy to develop. We could have had more time for whatever's going on in the vaults to develop. Instead of just constantly jumping POVs and trying to figure out what's going on. So that is the reason why I'm saying it's not a 5-star show. It could have been, for the vast majority of television, the first seasons are just bad. This is not the case. This was just so good. It was so engaging. Every episode, I wanted to watch more. I never felt like, ugh. There was no moments. There were some fun, interesting things. There was parts of maybe parts of the show that were things I hadn't encountered before in the games. I don't know if the foot that they give the doctor guy, is that a thing? Is that something in the games? I don't know. I don't remember ever seeing that before, but sure. Yeah, I think it was solid. I think I really enjoyed it. I really had fun with it. And I'll definitely watch season 2. I assumed immediately that it would be picked up because it just, within the first 3 episodes, I knew this show was going to hit. It was just going so well. There was none of those moments where you're just like, come on, let's whatever. Oh, I watched The Mandalorian front to back. So I guess there has been shows I've watched recently. And it had a very good first season. Same sort of thing. Had a great first season. Let's compare those two. The first season of The Mandalorian is that just, here's the football. We got to get the football over there. And it's just the ping pong. And we don't have all this outside stuff. We don't have all these other things taking up time on screen. We got to see The Mandalorian and we got to see the child develop as a that was the focus. And I would have liked to see a little bit more tighter focus on Lucy and maybe the ghoul, Lucy and maybe the vaults. Pick 2 of those storylines and really focus heavily on them, and the rest we can introduce in later seasons. Now obviously if there hadn't been later seasons, then it would have been oh man, I wish we could have got to see more of the Brotherhood, or I wish we could have got to see more of the NCR or whatever. So it goes either way. But I felt like there was a little too much going on. I would have much rather had football needs to get over here, and let's have antics along the way, and we don't need to introduce 1,000 factions and bring in, all of the lore all at once. You know, looking at another franchise I could compare that to would be the Harry Potter film series. The first movie is a cluster. They tried to pack like every little thing in the books in, and so some things got 5 seconds of time, and it wasn't enough. Like, just cut that. We don't need it. Just throw that part out. Let's move on. You know, later as they filmed the later movies, they got much better at figuring out what parts of the story were important and throwing the rest of the way. There was no need to show a little snippet from every chapter or every scene in the movie, because it just became this confusing mess of there's too much stuff. Let's focus on the important parts. Again, I don't think that's really a criticism. Like, fan service is, I'm perfectly fine with it. So it was fun to see the inner workings of the Brotherhood and all that sort of stuff. And in fact, they kind of didn't really show us much about the NCR at all. So they did cut out a character. They kind of cut the NCR out and just made them kind of like the goalpost, and that's it. And we get there and we're like, okay, here's the NCR. But I think we could have cut some more, right? And yeah. But the thing is, like, Lucy is such an innocent character wandering through this terribly brutal wasteland that I don't know that we needed specifically her story to be much like, she just needs to like, we need her to kind of slowly come into herself, because if in the first season she goes from this innocent know nothing to just like this jaded, like, run down wastelander, I think that would mean that in the future her character is much less interesting. She needs to kind of we need her to slow burn. The scene where she gives Walt, the ghoul, the ghoul medicine, and she, you know, like, I'm not you or whatever, that was fantastic. Like, that was just such a powerful scene. I really enjoyed it. What'd you think? This is, have we done this before? Have we done a sit down and talk about a season or a movie or whatever as a group? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for being here, as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know sounds smart is vehement. It is an adjective meaning insistent, unyielding in one's opinion or decision. Intense and flexibility amount matters. Millie, a chronic worrywart, was vehement about her children calling her if they were going to be late to getting home from school. Vehement. V-E-H-E-M-E-N-T. That's another one of those words that I love to use a lot. And I think I use it in speech a lot. And people go, what?